And don't mind the like repeated clicking sounds in the background. That's just me trying to harass the crap out of someone in a bathroom.
Did you get the achievement yet?
No.
Hope it's not broken. Are you connected to Steam?
I should be, but you know what? Sometimes Steam doesn't actually give me an alert when I get an achievement. So, I mean, that'll be heartbreaking. Oh, I can just sit here and do this for like 20 minutes.
Probably got it. I think it's like 10 times, not like 500.
Oh, well, I probably haven't then. In which case, yeah, so one of the things then I was gonna say for this is I found the approach towards the storytelling actually really interesting.
Oh, thanks.
There's what
Like
you
how
see.
all told through basically told through notes.
Well, more than that, it's told through what you see and experience, what you overhear, because there's like if you just sit there and eavesdrop on the grandchildren, there's the bits and pieces of what they say, and more than just like what you see, there's also just the ambience of the area, which
Yeah.
and then the notes serve as like the interlinker between all of that, sort of fleshing things out a fair bit more than what you just like. You sort of need the notes to get a much better idea of what's happening because you're sort of lost without them, which is the one heartbreaking thing about like if you end up missing them. So,
Cool.
like, I really found the approach to storytelling in this game, like, very interesting, and I guess I was sort of curious as to, what sort of design theory you had in regards to that.
Well, we really wanted the story to be the player's story, and we wanted, like, the environment to be a main character. We really didn't want to have any cutscenes, and we didn't want the notes to necessarily be required. We wanted the notes to put the player more of a certain kind of headspace rather than like rely on them to convey the plot. So we really made the story about trying to figure out what kind of a place you were in and why you were there and what might be going on. And so, as you explore this place, the place itself being the main character, you sort of get to know it better, and you learn more about its history, and you learn more about about how it works and what its true nature is.
Like, the weird technological aspect to it, and that it's, like, despite being technological, it's very organic in the way that it sort of shuffles around. Like, it's
Well, yeah,
the gear room.
Just decided that there was whatever this thing that they have was a pre-existing machine that they kind of decided to just live on. That's the vibe that I got from it.
I'll never tell. There's more.
I take it it's going to be more explored in the next games.
So the first episode explores the setting. The second episode explores the characters. And then the third episode resolves the characters' conflicts.
Okay.
So it's sort of like Star Wars in that each section sort of stands alone as like a full game at the beginning and middle and end. But all together makes up a bigger story.
So in that case, are there going to be different protagonists, or is it actually going to carry over with the same protagonist to the second game at the very least?
But I'm not telling.
God damn it. I was a little curious, because that ending to the first game was, harsh.
That was interesting.
I read the note and was like, oh, snap.
Yeah, in the video, I totally kind of call that's what's happening. And Arlene's like, no, it can't be that. And then he finds the note, and he's like, oh, it's totally
that. And I'm like, no bueno, man. No bueno. Because, like, I mean, there's still more to it than just that, I believe. Because some of those people just got, incinerated.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff. So, I mean, another thing, actually... actually, you had something you want to say first, Sean?
Yeah, well, while we're kind of on the concept of like story theory and stuff, one of the when I kind of stumbled upon this game, one of the big kind of selling factors was that it was a horror game that did not utilize jump scares.
There's like one in the entire game.
I
The
was
thing at Bucks where you light the match, I think is like the only thing close to a jump scare, really.
Awesome. Some people jump at different parts. People jump at that guy when he comes out. Oh, you got any gum? And they jump sometimes when oh well, I don't want to spoil it, but there's a big loud bang sound and people jump during that part.
I mean, oh, good point. In case anyone hasn't actually played it and is watching this interview, stop watching this interview and play the game and then come back to this.
No, definitely. If you haven't played the game, definitely play it first because, yeah, it's very much an experience.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Have you earned your visit with grandmother?
My curiosity was that is that something you went in specifically as a goal that you wanted to make a game that didn't use jump scares?
I have to be honest and say no, actually. We went in and I don't know, like we were going for this more subtle, sort of slow, creeping terror kind of thing with suspense.
Tension.
And it turned out that we just weren't using jump scares to do that. And then, when we were trying to think how to market the game, that was something we sort of discovered about our game. Was like, our game has no jump scares. Like that definitely sets it apart.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that'll be what we tell people it is.
And honestly, it's a really good selling point because it like increases. Okay, jump scares have a major issue of once you know they're there, they like basically lose their power.
Right.
A game that is just jump scares is really not that
you
creepy.
play it once and you're kind of done with it.
And if you start predicting the jump scares, it's even worse. Like,
Yeah, it's funny when they set up poorly, you can totally see them coming.
I mean, actually, one of the things I found wonderfully creepy about this game was the way the world sort of shifted around you as you traveled. Like when you're going up the stairs, all the like metal slating or grating like shuffles down and sort of gives you that trapped claustrophobic feeling, and you're just constantly hearing the like crazed ramblings in the background.
I love the dialogue. Like, what was the process for coming up with like the things that the grandchildren yell? Because they yell,
"It does not resonate with joy."
Yeah, they yell some of the most absurd, random stuff, and it's amazing.
It does not say its please and thank yous.
They're kind of these like neurotic, tortured souls. They're so caught up in like what they think is important, and what they think is important is often like really small and human and like really esoteric and particular to them.
Which I think actually was an interesting point that Sean wanted to talk to you about, was a sort of uncanny valley effect.
Sure.
Yeah, because like they're obviously like not human at this point, but I found it interesting that like they have very, very human qualities.
Cool.
I was I guess what I was wondering is like, was it something you were going for where you were trying to kind of were you trying?
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was just. Were you like trying to call attention to these sort of things that maybe seem like fickle or whatnot with humans?
Yes, I think so. It was a lot more like subconscious than that. Like I didn't necessarily sit down and say like I want to draw attention to like people's creepy idiosyncrasies.
Nice.
Weird word.
Oh, me who constantly mispronounces words actually got one right for once. You should hear me say the
Good
word
job.
bagel. I used to say
Boggle?
bagel. Yeah. Yeah. Spending like 12 years in a French first language school, I used to call them boggles.
Oh God, it's
It is
offensive.
I'm from the coast.
Hey, I'm French Canadian. It's not even offensive on my end.
Okay, fair enough. But one thing with with those guys was like we didn't necessarily want it to be clear either what they were going to do to you when they got you. Like if we wanted it to be like if a guy's coming at you with a huge knife, like you know he's going to stab you when he gets to you, you know, or big claws they're going to tear you apart, or big mouth they're going to gobble you down or whatever. We wanted it to be like sort of unclear what their priorities were, and like unclear what they were going to do to you once they captured you, so that like people would sort of imagine the creepiest thing they could and kind of do
Sean's
some
popular
work.
theory was they were going to huff us.
Yeah, with the face mask. I was like, oh God, these guys are like enjoying us.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's more.
Wow, I did not notice this creepy child picture before. Probably because I was too busy fixated on the fact that I was trying to dodge walking penises. Okay, you know what? Actually, this is a thing. Imagery-wise, I really gotta know. Like, is the fact that they sort of look phallic intentional?
I'm not telling.
Because I'm going to point out as a secondary thing, and this is part of why I ask if it's intentional, was because there's also the pictures that are sort of the serpentile womb picture. Or not like the uterus picture, it's the uterus that's sort of made of a pair of snakes.
Mm-hmm.
And I was sort of curious, like, if that was a... You know, I didn't find this switch before. What the fuck did that do? Oh! Oh, what is this?
Just finding random rooms now.
Yes.
What
I found,
switch?
like, a, switch on the side of a bed that I didn't find last time, which opened up a thing to the ceiling, which let me, like, backtrack to the... Which let me, like, cross over... I never found the secret note either, by the way. I feel bad about that.
Well, I couldn't possibly tell you where it is.
Off camera, you could. Off camera, you could.
Perhaps.
We'll go back and we'll find it.
But in this particular case, I was sort of curious about that. Like, is that going to be something that's going to be more detailed in the further chapters of this game? Like,
yes.
Okay, because I was curious about the significance of those little posters. Because I was like, there's some really creepy shit there.
I don't know if we'll come back to those specific posters.
I know the big theory floating around is that the little girl is grandmother.
I mean, it would make sense. She's the only
like
female character that's not dead. Which, yeah, interestingly enough, like, you don't learn a lot of these things unless you read the notes, and, like, a lot of it was, like, us, when we got to the cemetery, being like, that is a lot of graves.
Yeah, I know, it sucks.
How long those people lived.
Oh, yeah, like, us looking at the dates and being like, shit, bro.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
depresses me.
I mean, I found it depressing, but I also found it just really interesting for its bleakness.
I'll tell you that every little detail like that is part of the fiction, and it all comes together to paint a bigger picture. Nothing is sort of arbitrary as far as details like that go.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Because, yeah, I was like...
Yeah, I think that's what Arlene was trying to kind of get at was the imagery intentional?
Yeah, because, I mean, arbitrary things and imagery for creep factors do occur in games, especially horror games, for, like, sort of rule of cool. And
I mean,
considering this game was very story oriented, I wanted to know if that story was actually going to be told for these things eventually.
paintings like a dude with a mouse head and then the lady in her underwear. Like, you know, that's not necessary. That's sort of just creepy to be creepy, to be honest.
But like
yeah,
the cervix, uterus, snake thing. I was curious about that one especially, just because with the sort of phallic imagery of the grandchildren, it just seemed not exactly coincidental.
In episode 1.
Yeah.
So it's an important symbol to them.
I mean, I'm wondering if it's also tied to like grandmother in general, because we never really get a clear view of her.
Arlene likes to try to probe devs for information that they don't want to give out.
Shh. Shh.
No, I really like knowing what you want to know.
I mean, it's like for us, me and Sean, we sort of gravitate towards different things in games. I love story. It is
cool. Me too.
Like old school RPGs, I love them for their twists and their turns and their silliness. So also the like super shriveled up little grandchild over in the corner. Just looking at him. He's seen better days.
So, do you guys already have a Let's Play, or you're doing one now? Or?
We have a Let's Play. It's currently, actually, is it fully edited, and it's just being ready to be posted?
Yeah, it's scheduled to go up by the time this interview comes out on our channel. The whole Let's Play should be out.
So yeah, like cool. This will basically be the tail end to the Let's Play, and then on our list of things to do, actually, is the next games in the series.
Cool.
They're good stuff, and I already bought them because I had to.
Well, they don't exist. Episode 2 and 3 aren't out yet.
No, but I'm pretty sure you can actually still order them in advance.
Yes, you can.
Which I did.
All right.
And there we go. Got the blue matches without being caught this time. As opposed to, like, completely fucking up and running between everything last time.
Bumbling around blindly, yeah. So, like...
Don't judge.
Is there... what were some of the, like, difficulties you ran into while making this particular game? Like...
There were so many. Like, we went through a few different artists, and then, you know, it's just like, when you don't have any money, and people are working for free, for a royalty, like, you know, people come and go, so you can't blame them. It's not like people were fired or whatever, but, you know, we went through a bunch of different artists, and, you know...
the team kept changing because of just the situation.
Team kept changing. The game is required a lot of time. It took forever, so I had to sacrifice a lot of free time to get it done. It was really hard. Like the way we built it, it was the first time a lot of us had built a full game on our own. So we built it in a way that was prone to a lot of bugs. So like towards the end, like a bug would be found and then another bug would pop up when we fixed that bug because we somehow touched and moved something else, you know. And
is that why there's cockroach pictures everywhere?
Not that kind of bug.
I mean,
we actually ran into a bug. If you watch our
oh yeah, that was amazing.
Arlene,
oh no.
He jumps into the swimming pool and
while the thing's moving, and it just clips me right through the pool and drops me to my death. I was just like, oh.
Like fling you into space, you know? If you jumped into it.
It dropped me straight down. It was like the floor didn't exist while I was in motion.
flung you into space, like you could get stuck in the wheel and like go through some triggers and make stuff happen, and like it just got really strange and buggy and didn't look right, and like we could just instantly kill you, but people would just be pissed about that. So like what we eventually had to do was just turn off the collision on the rotator, and then people would fall through and they would die, but they would understand at least that they shouldn't have jumped into the spinning wheel of death.
I mean, it wasn't a spinning wheel of death, though. I landed on a surface when I was basically moving slowly and just aligning nicely. I was like, why do I have this inertia? I was like, why do I have this inertia?
Sorry, huge bug. I misunderstood.
I'm actually, okay, first off, just gonna pause this here.